Arthritis is a chronic illness that's classified as a disability.
Basically, your immune system gets confused and attacks your own cells, and then that can cause a build-up of fluid in your joints, and then that can cause pain and stiffness and fatigue.
My condition affects my ankles, my knees, my hips, my lower back, and my hands.
Some days I'd struggle to walk, be in constant pain, unable to move, and then some days there'd still be pain, but I'd be able to carry on doing my day-to-day life.
The pain makes you lose concentration, so it's like someone pecking your head in the background when you're trying to engage in something but you can't engage in it.
Some days you can wake up and you can be like, oh, it's going to be a good day, or sometimes you wake up really stiff and sore. And then I think it's just about, you kind of got to pace out your day, and like if you're having a bad day, you've got to take things slowly and do it bit by bit.
I struggle to write. I struggle sometimes to brush my teeth in the morning, to walk a lot. I'm on crutches quite a lot. I struggle to do normal activities.
I may need to take breaks if I'm walking long distances. If I'm sitting down for too long, I also need to walk or else I'll seize up.
I struggle with stairs, so at school I have to take the lift. As much as learning in the library is useful because I can still learn, it's not as good as going to lessons.
I find it really hard to ask for help just because I always worried how teachers were going to react, because some teachers were okay about it and then others would cause a bit of a scene.
There was a teacher in PE. At the time my friend was off with crutches, so I sat down by her and he came up to me and said, if you're at least going to fake a disability, at least bring props. And then when it was time to go in, I started limping as I was in pain and he mimicked my limb. I don't think teachers fully understand the difficulties that we go through.
My hands get really sore to write too much, so I tend to type a lot of things because I can't write for extended periods of time.
The pain can be quite mentally straining, and it does affect your education because you can get distracted way more easily.
And I think the teachers should be more understanding if a student feels unwell because of their condition. If they experience a flare-up during class, they should be able to actually leave the classroom and get help.
Listen.
Yeah, I would prefer if they just asked you what you wanted rather than trying to assume what you need.
If they don't listen to you and they don't get a full understanding of what you need and what's happening, then they're not going to know.
Yeah, it's quite good when the teachers actually care more about your health than the work that you're doing. Like, they realise that it's more important that you get to your hospital appointment than that you do these maths questions or whatever.
If you've got someone at your school that's newly diagnosed with GIA, do some research. Versus Arthritis have a great website with loads and loads of information about the condition, how it affects people, but you need to remember that everyone's affected by it differently. There's no one size fits all. Arthritis is an invisible illness, so they can't see, and if they can't see, it's sometimes much harder for other people to understand, then you don't get as much help as you could have had.
Let the student open up to you, explain their condition, so that you have a full understanding of what the situation is they're in. And if they don't get work done or they're late on homework, be understanding.
The school have provided me special seats instead of the stools, and a room with beanbags and a weighted blanket if I need to de-stress, and a room that I can do all my work in while I'm in that same room rather than walking around the full school.
The school have let me take painkillers. They let me leave lesson to stretch if I need to.
Just like small changes that they've made, getting a lift key so I've got access to the lift. It's a small change for them, but for me it has a really big impact. But I think the most important thing at school is having at least one person that you trust that you can speak to, because I think the mental health aspect's a really big thing for me.
Well, they already let me leave class 5 minutes early, which is quite useful because then I don't get kicked in the corridor.
They've also allowed my mum to come into the school to park in the disabled area, so I'm able to not walk a further distance.
I get notes for anything that's coming up on the board. So that means I don't have to copy all that out, and then if we're writing longer pieces, I've got my own laptop so I can choose when to use that.
My guidance teacher spoke to me. I now see her regularly and update her what's going on at hospital. And when I meet with my guidance teacher, for example, if I've started a new medication, I'm getting side effects, and she thinks anything she thinks my teachers would benefit from knowing, She will say, do you want me to email them about this? And then she'll email them. The teachers are putting all this stuff online, which means when I'm missing class or when everyone else is doing a worksheet, I can then access it online and do it there, which has been much better for me.
Every academic year, we'd have a meeting with head of year and tutor, let them know this is exactly what needs to happen. We'd just be very open with the school so that they sort of knew as much as we did.